Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. You need a website, you need it to look right and come together really easy? Check the description. I'm literally running out of ways to say this in the intro. Razer is back. The Viper is back. It's mini this time. Is it just smaller? Of course not. Hexagonal shell? Not a chance. They've refined and optimized aspects of the Viper platform, and it comes in at a shockingly low price tag, and we're gonna get into it. You ready? Let's go! Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching BadSeed Tech, and today we're checking out the Viper Mini gaming mouse from Razer. Retailing for $39.99. Yeah, you heard that right, $39.99. The Razer Viper Mini takes the extremely well-received design of the Viper and brings it to a smaller package perfect for small to medium hands. Weighing in at 61 grams, we're down 8 grams from the wired Viper and down 13 grams from the Ultimate. It measures a little over 118 millimeters long, about 58 millimeters at the front flare, 61.5 at the rear, and just under 54 millimeters at the grip. That's about a 4 millimeter reduction from the standard size Viper. Because the original Viper is so flat, that's where I really feel the difference in hand. With a hand measurement of 20.5 by 10.5 centimeters, this makes this basically a fingertip only mouse for me. An odd measurement here is that it's actually taller in height than the OG Viper. Not by much, like 0.5 millimeters, but you'd assume you'd see a smaller measurement here. So it lends itself to this teardrop shape. Instead of being totally flat, you can definitely feel it in hand. I can actually rest my inside knuckles on this. First impression of this thing is that it's built really well. The frame is solid, no flex, no creak. I want to say the coating feels revised, but both my Vipers have been used a lot, so it's tough to say if it doesn't just feel new. I like it nonetheless. You may notice we have a bit more flash here as they've actually added RGB underglow to the rear of the mouse. Interesting change, and I'm sure one that will be met with some criticism because it possibly added a gram or two to the weight, but it looks cool. There are two things missing from the other models. One, there are no rubberized side panels here. Smooth sides, same texture as the rest of the body. Not much of a concern because it's so small, light, and it curves in as you move towards the mouse pad for easy pickup. The other thing that's deleted are the outside side buttons, so it's not a true ambi anymore. I think people will be divided on this. Some people felt those outside buttons got in their way, but lefties will obviously feel left out on this one. They did change these side buttons to actually stick out from the body more though, and I think everyone will like that change. The other models have buttons that are nearly flush, and like Fortnite players who depend a lot on their side buttons had trouble adapting to these, so I think this will be welcomed across the board. They don't feel as crispy to me as the original buttons. Front button has really no pre-travel and extremely minimal to no post-travel. The rear button has a bit more of both. Not anything I'd consider a deal breaker for sure. Even though we do still have those fast optical switches in here, the triggers feel snappier. You can still feel that these are optical switches, but they do feel better, crispier. The rating has been reduced from 70 mil to 50 mil, but these have been tweaked for a feel that's closer to a mechanical switch, as that was one of the few consistent criticisms of the optical switches. Scroll wheel doesn't look different in any way. The force to depress feels similar too. I would say that the steps feel less tactile, and overall it's much quieter. We also see the DPI button move to the top. This is just straight up DPI adjust, as there is only one profile. It's still positioned in such a way that I don't think you'll trigger it accidentally. It's actually nice to have up there. I put reload up there and I actually missed it when I went back to the Viper Ultimate. There is no DPI indicator LED anywhere, so you get 400, 800, 1632, and 6400 steps by default. You can still use Synapse to go in there and tweak anything you would want to, but you don't have to, and you can even uninstall it completely after you've set up the mouse the way you want. It never prompted me to install it. The SpeedFlex cable as seen on the wired Viper is here again. I'm not seeing or feeling any change, which is good. Feet here have got the PTFE treatment, good thickness, nice surface area. Around the sensors, a plastic molding as opposed to glide material. It doesn't seem to affect the performance though, as I have no issues with the glide at all. It feels great, better than the original wired Viper and on par with the Ultimate. Now it's best to think of the sensors here as a good, better, best situation when moving from the Mini up the ladder to the Ultimate. The Mini tops out at 8,500. I can't see this being a limiting factor for anyone. Max speed is 300 versus 450 on the wired and 650 on the Ultimate, and the max acceleration is 35 as opposed to 50 on the others. Nonetheless, it performs great in-game. This was pick up and play for me, and despite being a little too small, I could actually find a consistent grip. It's a weird one though, to compensate for the grip width. My ring and pinky hit the flares instead of the center. I actually like it. It's not going to replace the Ultimate for me, but I had way more fun testing this mouse than I thought I would. Gotta pay some bills real quick, and we'll be right back to wrap up. Big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video and continuing to support the channel. If you find yourself trying to manage multiple social media outlets and convey a cohesive brand or message, it can be really beneficial to have a centralized website that functions as the center of your online network. Squarespace not only makes it easy to create this, but they offer really valuable tools such as email campaigns where you can build a database of contact information for your most active and supportive viewers. This makes for a powerful way to get your message to the people who need it most and can really drive the needle on call to action campaigns. You can even start with a free trial that doesn't require a credit card up front. To take your first step, go to squarespace.com/badseedtech to save 10% off your first purchase of a site or domain. So because the Razer line has now expanded to have a specific mouse for just about every game or play style, grip style, and hand size, they will be releasing a guide to help you pick based off those three factors so you can figure out exactly what's going to work for you, similar to what we saw Zowie do recently. I think this mouse is going to be a real hit with FPS players, small to medium sized hands with claw or fingertip grip. I like all the changes and the updates they've made here, except for possibly the lefties feeling slighted by the new design. But who knows, they'll probably come out with a left-handed version next week. $39.99 is a very surprising price point from Razer, who seems to be bound and determined to take on every last negative thing people have to say about them. This mouse doesn't feel budget to me at all. The frame feels very solid. I think they easily could have got $50 or $60 for this and nobody would have batted an eye. It feels great. It plays well. The cable's nice. The triggers feel good. The side buttons are easier to work with, even though they have deleted those outside buttons, so not quite as accessible, and they're not quite as solid as a result. The tweaks to the switches are a huge step in the right direction. If you've had or currently have a mini or small frame mouse and the fit is right, but the QC isn't, or if that skeletal frame and the body flex that's associated with that just isn't for you, your mouse is here. And it's $10 to $20 cheaper than the competition. It's crazy. They make this thing in a wireless, it's gonna blow out. As always, links for everything we talked about down in the description. Any questions, hit me in the comments or drop by the Discord. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button. And until next time, stay up.